Okay, so you know serialization?
Serialization, yes, I know.
Okay, so can you tell what is the use of serialization in Java? Why do you use that? Or you used in your project? You can give an example. Why did you use?
Yeah, so whenever any object is there, right, any Java plain object is there, to store it in or to get it via network and all, right? Basically, to store this, we use serialization. So serialization is like storing that object, and then deserialization is just getting that object from that serialized data.
Okay, but why do you need that?
So one thing is like, let's suppose we want to transfer it uh, via network. Okay. The other thing is we want to store that in some file. Then so at all those places we need serialization so that we can we can achieve, when we deserialize also we can achieve the same state of the object like what we have currently.
Yeah, okay. So there is a static variables also, you know, right? Static.
Yes, I know.
So can we make it as serialized?
Static variable as serialized, is it?
Yeah.
So you mean to say we need to store data?
Yeah. How can we make static as serialized?
Static as serialized.
You know static variables, right? We give.
Yeah, static variables I know.
Yeah,
Those
how
are
can
like binded with the class, so not with the object, but with the class.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
How can we serialize those?
so I'm not actually aware, like because I have just seen that serializable interface. If we implement it, the data will be serialized and it can be passed. But how exactly if we do, on the static variables, that I'm not sure actually.
Okay. What are the different classes gets used to make serialize, and what are the different classes used for deserialize?
We just the serializable interface, right? We can just implement that, so we can let compiler know that this need to be serialized whenever we want to store that, and then we can use in the file stream or any way to store and get it.
So suppose
there
there
Yeah,
is
is a singleton class. So
yeah,
what are the things? What are the rules you need to follow for the singleton class?
yeah. So singleton class means it should have only one instance, one object in that JVM. Okay. So for that singleton class, one thing is like the constructor should be private. Okay, so that no one can call the constructor and make new instances of that. So one thing is like constructor should be private for a singleton class. Then we should have one static method. Okay, so that we can like in the static method we can when or we can in the starting we can have like instance can be null, like we can make one static instance of that class, and then whenever we create it first time, right, then we can initialize it using that private constructor in that static method, and then all other times whenever it is not null, right, we can provide that so that it will be created only once, that instance will have only once for that singleton class. So that is our requirement.
Okay, and what about the different variables under that class?
Hello.
Ah, sorry, I was in mute. So what are the different variables under that class
So
should be?
different variables under the class, is it?
yeah.
No, means human instance variables, is it? Or like any variable in that class?
Yeah, inside the class there are some variables. Should we take care something on those variables?
Okay, so you want singleton instance. So we should not have setters. Okay, the thing is like, no, what setters was like 1 minute, huh? Me think not immutable singleton instance. Yeah, we can have those things private. Okay, the variables, and but otherwise, like we can make it based on that only the static instance of that class only. No other things are only for the thread shape. Okay, only to make it thread shape. We are having two different ways, like lazy and the eager one. So there in the lazy we do later at the later stage, like to make it thread shape, even we can have some logs or make the method synchronize that get instance method. But for the eager one, we can initialize in the static block or in the starting, like when the class is loaded that time only. So it will be singleton. But other things, yeah, it's okay, I think.
Okay. So suppose for that singleton class, I have done implements serializable. Okay,
Yeah.
to make it serialized mainly.
Yeah.
Now, is it possible to create multiple objects?
I think, yeah, serialization breaks this. Okay, so after serialization, like one object will be there, and when we deserialize it again, right? So the other object will also be created. So the like serialization breaks the this one singleton.
Yeah, how can we resolve it?
Okay, so to resolve it, I'm not aware about this actually. But I've heard like maybe via reflection we can do something so that, but I'm not sure. Sorry.
Okay. So, did you work in binary tree anytime?
Binary, yeah.
Okay. What is binary tree and how do you use in our project?
Yeah, so binary tree is like it's a tree type of structure where every node has like 0 to up to 2 nodes. Okay, so every node also has references of either 0, like when it is a leaf node, or 1 or 2 nodes, it can have references. So that is a binary tree. It will be like in the structure as a tree only, maybe like hierarchical structure where one node and then have 2 nodes like that. So not like I have worked in competitive coding mostly with binary tree, or in the Java side if you talk, then not implementing and all, but like this tree set and tree map, right? So those also use internally binary tree. It's not actually exactly binary tree. They use like I think red black tree, but it is just a variation of that only to make it balanced, like balanced BST. So if you want to go on any aspect of that, maybe I can go.
Okay, okay. So, how can we do? How do you make your project exception handling way? I mean, how do you handle different various exceptions in your current project?
So mostly it's a Spring Boot based project. So like we have done try catch and all everywhere. Try catch finally things we have used, and we have like thrown custom exceptions. But in the controller class, like this one controller advice we have used, so that there only some exception can be cached. But still based on the business logic and based on the requirements, somewhere like exceptions are just cased also, which are like that not that much important, and like those are swallowed in the catch block, and maybe some logs are printed for error. So try catch finally, and then the controller advice I will use.
Hmm, to use that. But suppose in your backend,
Yeah.
right, something
Yeah.
is throwing exception as server side exception, like 50050
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
for or something, some exception
Yes.
getting thrown, right? How do you handle in UI side?
In UI side, yeah,
Yeah.
so in UI side, we will get the status codes, right, for every call. So if it is like not in the 200, like 2xx, then I will handle it. I will catch it in the UI, and then maybe we can show some error, whatever. Like some, if it is in the five, like as you said, 500, like internal server error type of that, then we can have like, some server occurred, like some error occurred internally, like that we can have in the UI. So we have to catch based on the status of the APIs only, based on the status of API calls. Yeah.
Okay. What is unchecked exception?
Yeah, so exceptions are two types, right? So checked and unchecked. So unchecked exceptions are like array out of bound exception or null pointer exception, which are like cannot be checked at the compile time, and like there is no need to explicitly write like this method throws this exception and all, and those will be at runtime only automatically will be thrown, and no need to tell in the starting only at the methods in the method signature like this exception is thrown from this method. So those are unchecked, and the checked are the one which are, we have to explicitly write in the method like this input output. Some exceptions are part of that.
Okay, so some places we need custom exception. Why do we need that?
Yeah, so like the exceptions will be very generic, right? So to let's suppose like we are making some logic in business, like I would take example like voting thing we are making. So people below 18 cannot vote, or they cannot register for that. So there we can have some exception like this type of like how we are unsupported operation, something like that we can have. So this is not supportable like that. So we can write those exception custom, and so that the like the other users can have more meaningful implication of that exceptions, or in the other other part of the code we can have better implication of that, so we write those.
Hmm. Okay, can you talk about type eraser?
Type eraser, huh?
Yeah,
Type eraser.
it's in generics.
Okay, in generics it is. uh, So it's, I think it is, I'm not very sure, but I'm just guessing, but I think it is correct only. So in generics, like we provide the types, right? But those will be at only for the compile time only, okay? In the compile time, it will be removed and those will be made as, objects only. So it is still compile time only. I think that is called type eraser. So like how we define and list of, integer, like list, then angular bracket integer and new array list we do. So at later stage, it will be like, just list of an object only when the code will be compiled. So I think that is called type eraser.
Okay, and how can we make bounded type parameters there?
Yeah, so bounded types we make using extends and super, right? So let's suppose one class is there, and let's suppose one list of, I'm taking just example of vehicle and car, right? So list of vehicle we can have, and but directly we can't pass list. Uh, I mean to say when we write like this. I think question mark extends some and then type T, then we can make, bounded towards, it will be upper side. This should extend the, so lower side bounding and the upper side we can make via super, or it is reverse to me recall. Yeah, but the way is like this only. So let's suppose I want to have, uh, some base class. So in the some base class of list, I want to have some, the other class. I mean to say subclass. Then I will say like this should extend this type T. So the type T is like base class, and then anything subclass of that, that will be we will be able to pass that. So via this these operators we make extensions super.
Okay.
So in Java,
I mean,
what?
sorry, keywords.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so in Java, you know that, okay, first of all,
Yeah.
there are multiple sorting algorithms are there, right?
Yes.
So which sorting algorithms you think that is good to use?
Like generally, everywhere I think the quick sort is used, but merge sort, quick sort, and heap sort, these are the better one, which performs on and average, in order of n log n. So these are better instead of the bubble sort, counting sort, and all, where those are n square. So I think mostly all the algorithms are via merge sort and this one quick sort.
Okay, these are in log n.
Yeah, though the quick sort is in the worst case it can can be any square also, but if the pivots are chosen very wisely, then it will perform in on an average n log n, like in n log n, yeah, big of n log n. And merge sort is n log n, but it takes extra order of n space just to merge those two different lists which are created.
Okay. Okay, I'll give a requirement. You can tell how you give the solution.
Yeah, sure.
So I have I need to call from the from some method or somewhere from in a
Okay.
workflow mainly. I need to
Okay.
call multiple. I need to have multiple calls at the same time because of performance. I want to make that way. Okay,
Okay.
I need to call multiple methods at the same time, and I need to wait for giving the response back from those calls. Once all gives the response back to me, then
Okay.
I can give the final response to the end user.
Okay.
How will you do that?
So it is in generic thing, or you are asking in sorting? I did not understand.
No, no, not sorting. It's a generic.
Okay, generic thing, right? So you want to get
How will you
the
do in
things from.
sorting this one?
If
Okay,
you
so this will, like, I will use, the different threads to get it done. Uh, I mean to say, like, because in the time is taken in the network call, right? So maybe we can execute others, and then whenever we receive the things, we can, club it together and we can give the response. So in Java, like, either we can use, we can create different threads, or maybe we can use some, executor service, like where it is, it's a thread full of some threads, and then we can call those different methods. So it will not be blocking, okay, those, and then whenever we get the result, maybe we can, like, we can accumulate it together. So in JavaScript, it is like, some promise dot resolve for all the promises it is. In Java, we can implement via different threads.
But you need to wait, right? Like one by one, you need to wait, right?
No, but like, let's suppose, because the weight is in the network, all right. So let's suppose one thread is executed, it will go, right, and then the other in the over CPU time, it will take the other thread, maybe other thread it will schedule, and it will give a call to the that API or anything it is, right. So in after some time, when, that's like the wait and notify, when the threads notify, right. So then we will have the data together, and then we can merge, right.
Oh,
Like,
you are saying for each thread you will do a notify.
Uh, not exactly, but so maybe I think we are callables are also there, right? So maybe it will fit into that domain. So there, like, till the result is not, maybe we can call other all, and then when we get the results, right, like after the get method on the callable, so we will have the data. So then also we can combine. But I meant to say not notifying on all, but I think it can be done also.
in
But
part,
yeah, we are callable. We are callable. Like, we can have an executor service, or okay, where we can submit the task. So those will be callable. Like, whatever the result is there, they will return at last, right? So we can submit all, and it will be processed in the CPU timing, and we can get once it is done, right?
Mhm. But one by one it will give the response, right? How will you understand all threads got finished?
All threads got finished, huh?
Mhm.
Okay. No, but that we can, I think we can check via the state of that executor, or what we are using, right? Executor service. We can check via that. Like, we will not accept any new task till it shut downs. After that, still it depends, where we are implementing and what is the logic. But generally, it is there that when we call that wait and shut down, so or shut down method, it will wait to, whatever the tasks are submitted, it will wait till those all are executed, and then we will pass after that, or we can have some timeout also in that, to finish all the things, or like, till all the tasks are not not completed.
Okay, so I'll give you another scenario.
okay,
Yeah.
So I have a lot of objects to be transferred from one machine to another machine. Okay,
Okay.
but what is happening in my case while I'm sending from one machine to another machine, somewhere it's getting blocked or messages are losing.
Okay.
Okay, somewhere those are getting erased or deleted, or somewhere it is losing. Okay, it's not transferring properly to the end system, to the other system.
Okay.
How can you make sure that messages are properly delivered to that particular machine?
Okay. So it is we are some like how I if I can understand more what you are using, to transfer any like what is the channel to
No,
transfer
no, right
the
now,
output?
Anything, something is there. Okay, but
Okay.
I'm telling how will you give the solution to make sure the it is properly delivered.
Okay, so in the this distributed architecture, right? If we go like if you talk about messages and all, so like to have this thing only like not this thing, but one solution so that the messages are sent properly and not lost in between, and like those who not reappearing also. So for that only we have those queues, right? Distributed queues. So like I have used the Rabbit MQ in our system where like have to send the messages and then the other system should use. So here we can make it loosely coupled, right? Also, right? Like even if the one system is sending, the other system is down, still those messages will not be lost, but those will be there in that queue, or we can call it is any broker, right? So let's suppose it is Rabbit MQ. So it will be there, and then whenever that consumer is also online, they can consume. So they guarantee that the message are sent at least once properly. So that is the one way like we can have, we can leverage that solution. Uh, if you want to have, something done by us, maybe we can think of that also.
Okay, what are the different cloud services you have used?
So in cloud, like I have not used much, but I have used some services from Azure and AWS. But those like those are also on like in my company they provide in on premises some view for that, and then they call to the cloud provider. So like I have created infrastructure. Okay, so I have used it in creating VMs, creating object storages, creating the like like databases and Kubernetes clusters. So I use, but not like for the Azure. I use AWS S3, but not much on their portal. But I have knowledge of that. I have completed AG 900.
Sorry, which one?
In Azure provides one certificate of AG 900. So like basic Azure. So that I have done.
Okay, okay, got it, got it. So, any knowledge on AIML?
AIML, not recent, but yeah, in my college time, I was working on one deep learning project. But recent LLMs, not much knowledge, but yeah, we use daily. But yeah, deep learning, I have done one project. So on that there I have knowledge, and maybe if I get some time, I can work on that and learn things.
Okay, can you tell what are the different states of a thread?
Yeah, so thread is a new thread. Whenever like we do new thread, so it is like just new thread. Then when we schedule it, we start. So it is scheduled. Then when it is in running, when like the uh, this CPU text gives the time to that thread, then it is running. And then maybe if it is blocked for some of the some network call or something, or we have some wait and all, then it is blocked. And then when it is finished, so it is dead. So these are the states of the thread.
Okay, do you know what is signal dispatcher?
Single dispatcher, huh?
Signal, not
Signal dispatcher. Is it in threads? Is it?
yeah.
Uh, I have not heard this name, but maybe I think it is somewhat related to the signaling of the threads. When we do like one thread is going in the blocked state, it will signal others. If we implement like we a notify method or notify all that, other threads can come and take that resource or whatever it is. So, but not very sure. I have not heard this name actually.
Uh, how do you make sure that some you want to search from somewhere? Okay,
Yeah.
there is a uh, some storage you're using from the storage, you need to make sure whenever you're searching something, it should give in just instant time. How will
What
you do?
is instance time?
Yeah, it should not iterate all over the storage. It should give just instantly.
I did not get. Can you please repeat once?
There is a storage.
Okay.
Whenever I search some object from the storage, it should give me the result instantly. It should not iterate all over the storage.
Okay, okay. I got something like relational database. Maybe you are trying to say
No, in the Java only.
in the Java. It's
Correct.
so in the Java storage means some collection. It is. You mean
Yeah,
that
might be
like some.
collection.
Yeah, yeah, that is also fine.
So in Java, if you like talking about maybe if it is in databases, then we create indexes. But in Java, if you say then like maybe if it is a list, we have to iterate only. But we can have a different data structure like hash map. So we can have hashing on those things, like maybe on the keys or something. Then we can return instantly. Otherwise, if it is a it is a list of 1 billion items or 1 million items, we have to iterate over it. If we are not going in the hash map and all some data structure like that, which can provide in some random not random but just such as in the order one. But otherwise, yeah, it is like if if we are maintaining some data which is some way it is sorted or something, and we can have some key based on that like binary searches also we can apply. So there also we can make it fast, like because it will be order of login, so it will be very fast. If it is in that thing you are asking, or I did not get if it is in some other domain you are asking.
Okay, okay, got it. Can you tell what is the difference between class not found exception, right?
Yeah, class not found, yes.
And no class definition found error. What is the difference?
No class found and class not found. No, sorry, no class definition and class not found, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think no class found occurs when at compile time only when there is no class loaded. Okay, but this class not found occurs when at compile time that class was present, but at runtime due to some issue that class is not present. So then this exception occurs.
So when we provide static variables, right, in the class,
Yeah.
Right.
uh, so what are the places we can use static?
What are the places? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in static variables, you
Mm-hmm.
mean, right?
Static variables we can write. Anything else? Anywhere else we can use static?
Okay, static keyword you mean, right? Static
Yeah, yeah.
keyword where we can, yeah, so we can use static keyword on the variable, on the methods, and on the class also we can use. And we can have block also static, like where in the class we can have one block, static, and then we can write, some via curly braces, some block, which will be in the, executed only once when the class is
How can
created.
you?
How can you write static in the class?
In a class, huh?
Mm-hmm. Why it is required?
That static block or
No, no.
static
You,
keyword on the
you.
class.
Yeah.
You said static class is also possible, right? Why?
Okay, so that is like, let's suppose we are having one class, right? So inside that class also we are having one other class, okay? Like a dependent, not dependency, but instance of that class. So inside also if we have one class, so that class maybe we can declare static also if we want to use it without creating the variable of that class in the main method. So in internal classes we do sometimes static on the class also.
So this static variable, do you know
Yeah.
when does it get loaded?
When does it get loaded?
Yeah.
I think it is loaded at when the class is loaded that time only. Before even any object, other object is created. Before that, so at class loading time, like when the JVM loads the class, that time only static variable also loaded.
Is it like compile time or runtime?
Compile time or runtime. Uh, Compile time. I think it is compact time. It should not be because mm, I think it is compile time only. Mm, but compile time not. No, it should be at runtime only, but it is loaded in the start of the running before other threads and all come into the picture. Before that only it is loaded, but it is not at compile time. It is just after that.
Hmm. So, do you know in JVM, does it maintain any cache?
JVM,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it does, yes.
Why cache is required?
To have faster access of the things cases, right?
Yeah.
Like instead of going through the and memory every time, if some things which are not changing, if we can have in the case L1 case or L2 case, then we can access it fastly. So that's why case is maintained for
Okay.
faster access, I would say.
Hmm. So, what is event delegation model or event inheritance model?
Event inheritance or event delegation.
Yeah, yeah.
So inheritance model is when like when we inherit all the property. Let's suppose we talk about classes, like one class is there and the subclass is inheriting all the properties from there. Okay. So like all the things we will do, like the subclass will do of the superclass also. Then it is event inheritance. Delegation is like when we are just using one instance, one variable of whatever the work we want to do, right? One class variable or instance variable of that, and then we will delegate all the responsibilities to that only, to whatever the work need to be done. So that is event delegation.
Mm-hmm.
Like composition, somewhat in the composition.
Okay, so one scenario, suppose what you have given a requirement to you.
Yeah.
Suppose the project you have made such a way, it's the performance wise it is very slow.
Okay.
Now I told you to fix it. How will you do it?
Performance wise, it is too slow.
Mm.
Okay, so first of all, like if there are some API calls, right? So I would check those, or if it is having queries with the databases, I will first thing I will check that, like what is the time taken there. Maybe the bottleneck is in the database or the API database calls where it is taking too much time. So one thing is like we can have proper indexing and we can make the databases faster. The other thing is like I will check in the whatever the calculations are done in the code, like if it is taking too much time or it is doing some extra work which no need to be done, but you know if something is something like that there or some bottleneck is there, that I will check. The third thing what we can do is we can make this the application or the project, okay, so maybe multi-threaded, so or asynchronous, so there we can have some somewhat we can improve, but still it is not there, then maybe we have to check the architecture, like if so much tasks are done in one thing only, that's why it is delayed. So maybe we can break it into small different services. We can think of that also. So yeah, these things I will check and I will try to improve on the performance of the application.
So there is a class and that class has multiple constructors.
Okay.
Okay, now from one constructor to another constructor I need to call. How will you call?
Yeah, so one constructor to other constructor, right? Yeah, so we can call we are this and then this is a keyword, but if we pass the parameters, then it will call to the method or the to other constructor from one constructor. So let's suppose we have two constructors. One has three parameters, one has two parameters. But from third one we don't want to ignore and we want to call two parameter constructor only. Then we can call on the first line itself that this and then two parameters we can pass from that particular constructor. So it will call that other one.
Okay, we know that string is immutable.
Yes, I know.
So why string is immutable? What is the use of that?
Yeah, so in Java, string is made immutable, and so to make things faster, okay, it was done.
Hello.
So string is immutable, and the
Yeah.
string, all the strings are stored in the string pool. So there they can have, they can access it faster. And so even, like when we do plus and all, that time also new strings are created. So your question is why it is made?
Yeah, what is the use of it? Correct.
Yeah, so maybe we because we use strings, like I mean to say, like this one primitive types only mostly. It's not a primitive type, but still we use, right? So they don't want to create one different object and have so many other things on that string. That's why they, to make it faster, they did strings. And immutable they did because of this one. Uh, Immutable strings were done immutable. So in the string pool, they can maintain any, and yeah, if someone is, one program, someone is creating two or three different string also with the same, still, it can be referenced from one, like, the location is same, but the variable can be different, but those are referencing to the same location in the string pool area. Okay. So if it is mutable, then they can't do, this type of architecture they cannot have, because they have to create different instances. So that is also one other use why it is made immutable.
Do you know what is phantom memory?
Phantom memory. Uh, Let me recall. I have heard this name. Okay. So phantom memory is, recall. Is after garbage collection or phantom memory? I think uh, actually unable to recall it clearly, but do after garbage collection happens, on the heap memory. After that, some memory is phantom, or not very sure actually on this.
So somewhere we use weak hash map, right? What is the use of weak hash map?
Weak hash map.
Yeah, yeah.
Weak hash map. Is it? I'm not sure about weak hash map. I use like linked hash map, tree map, but weak hash map I have never. Sorry. Weak hash map I am not aware actually.
So before some time you were saying, right, in our class.
Yeah, inner
So
class.
what is the, why do we need that kind of structure? Sometimes we use that, right? What is the use
Yeah,
of
so
it?
let's suppose sometimes we don't want to create some other class files, and in a particular class only we need for some use only, or some local use only we need, like let's suppose we need pair somewhere for locally, then we can create one inner class static and directly use that. So no need to create one class outside, and then have one class, the class file, and other classes also know like that. So inner, uh, like in that scope only we can create one inner class and just can use and finish it.
What is the yield method?
Yield. Why I yield? I think so in, like I have used this in the switch case. Okay. So in the new switch case, like earlier switch case was like this only, right? We have to, make it default, and we have to just provide the value like that. But in new switch cases where we use this symbol like lambda, where we use this operators. So there when we want to have a block, okay, in that, let's suppose for case something, and then switch something, and then case something, then we want to have a block, then we will not be able to use the return, but we have to use the yield.
No.
No, no, yield is not there. Yield is in thread.
Thread.
Yeah.
Then maybe I have not used that. This one I know, the one which is there in the switch. In the JavaScript, I have used build, okay, which is like when we want to make something like an, uh, not iterable or iterator, when we want to one call a method and return the next values again and again, like how we have it in iterators .next. So something like that we want to do, then we use yield in the JavaScript. But Java yield actually, except this case switch case yield, I have not, I'm not aware.
So there is a, so you know prototype, right? Prototype beans or
Yeah,
singleton
yeah.
beans, right? So there is a bean, singleton bean. Inside
Okay.
that there is another bean which is prototype.
Okay.
Okay. So is there any issue might come?
There is a bean, and inside that there is a prototype bean.
There is a singleton bean. Inside
Okay.
that there is a prototype bean.
Okay, okay, okay. So you are talking about scopes of the singleton and then the prototype bean. No, there will not be any issue. So whenever the singleton bean will have scope, like it will be created once only. So whenever any other method or anything ask for a bean from the application context, or from bean factory, it will just return that only. So no new beans will be created even for that inner one also, which is prototype also.
So, but I want to create it. How can you do that?
So you want to create new bean for every time, is it? For the prototype bean.
Yeah.
Then I think we have some proxies we can do. So we can write proxy on that. So I use that syntax. So we have to declare proxy on that, and then we can request for a new bean also.
And the vice versa. Suppose I have a prototype bean. Inside that there is a singleton bean.
Inside a prototype, in prototype there is a singleton. Yeah, so then there will be no issue, right? In the prototype, if it is a singleton, the singleton will be like once only. How many times you call it will return one bean only, same bean only.
But prototype will give the multiple.
Yeah, prototype will give different beans to you every time you call.
Mhm. Apart from these two beans, what are the other bean scopes?
I think request and session are also there. So session is like for one particular session of the like let's suppose we have logged in. So for one particular session there will be one session, and request bean is there when in one request, like let's suppose one request came from the controller. So in one request only multiple times one bean is like one bean is called, okay, to get the bean. So then it will have the request scope, and in that it will be one bean only it will return. It will behave like singleton.
Okay. What is course?
Course.
Yep.
Yeah, so course is like source origin resource sharing, right? That only, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. So for it is like a security thing. So it is made like between different origins, the resources should not be shared, right? Like let's suppose our backend is running on something and front end is running on some other port, maybe on some other domain. Then it will not be able to call it. Like the web only will block it. So for that, we have to define in the security, or we can have that course allowed for all maybe all domains, or we can configure it in security so that it will allow.
So by default, it will be always on, is it?
By default, it will be off. So I mean, course will be on, so you will not be able to call from different server to different server. I mean to say, if front end is running on 3001 and backend is on 8080, then will not be able to call the backend by default.
Okay, okay. So suppose in Spring Boot, normally what happens when we change something in the code, we might need to restart the server, right? But we don't
Yes.
want this.
Whenever
We
there
can
is.
use
Mhm.
dev tools, we can use, right? If you don't want to restart.
Did you use anytime Timeleaf?
Timely, no, I know like it is a template engine for the Java, but no, I have mostly done front-end in JavaScript and React only. I mean to say in React framework only, or the vanilla JavaScript I have done things.
Oh, okay. And you worked on JPA or Hibernate?
JPA Hibernate, yeah. So most of the work is there, yeah, actually, because we have Postgres as database and Spring Data JPA we use.
Okay. So you write the JPK well, right?
Not exactly. Skills are very complex and we write, or somewhere I have written JPL also, or otherwise, automatic. Yes, in some simpler APIs, it is like automatic. The JPA provided methods only we use. It
Hmm.
depends on the requirements. But yeah, JPQL to native query transferring is like not that difficult. Can be done, or vice versa.
Okay. What is the access annotation?
Access annotation.
Yeah.
Access. Without access. Yes. I'm not sure about this.
What is optimistic? The locking part.
Yeah,
Optimistic
I
lock?
know. Yeah, optimistic, pessimistic looking. I know.
Yeah, what is that?
So optimistic looking is like 1 minute. Pessimistic and optimistic. In optimistic, yeah. In optimistic, we will be optimistic that the like the issues on some shared variable or some shared state in the database, that will not happen. So we will let the different threads also or different whatever the different transactions access the same shared state also. So we'll think like there will be no failures or no mutual exception will happen. So we will let the transaction pass it, and then it will write or read whatever it will do. So in optimistic thinking, we think that there will be no issue at the end, and we let it pass. In pessimistic, in the starting only, we will lock that particular row or particular variable or one particular transaction, and we will allow other transaction only when the one is completed. So it is both are these.
Okay, okay. So I believe you have worked on second level cache, right? So in which class it is related with second level cache?
Second level case.
Is it related to entity manager or entity manager factory
It is to entity manager factory.
or something else?
Uh, I have not worked actually on this thing.